to see someone literally spend that kind of cash all for a video game character, but that pretty much sums up the free-to-play model in a nutshell. Hey, what's going on everyone? Welcome to another episode of This Week Today with CuriousJ, where we talk about gaming and streaming news. I am your host, CuriousJ. I do appreciate y'all being here. Let's get straight into this week's episode, guys. So we've talked about the Epic Games versus Apple case a couple of times now, but the situation is still progressing, and it seems like Fortnite won't be coming back to the App Store anytime soon. So Judge Yvonne Gonzalez Rogers, that's a mouthful, refused to grant Epic Games a preliminary injunction against Apple that would force the game developer to reinstate Fortnite on the App Store, while simultaneously granting an injunction that keeps Apple from retaliating against the Unreal Engine, which Epic also owns. That means that state of affairs in which Epic is banned from publishing new games on iOS and cannot distribute Fortnite on the App Store in its current form will remain in place for the length of the trial, unless Epic decides to remove its own in-app payment mechanism that initiated this whole legal feud back in August. Rogers had previously suggested a jury trial might be appropriate as soon as the next July, but ahead of this ruling, both parties said they would rather have the case decided by a judge. This decision still prevents Apple from revoking Epic's developer tools in a way that could have harmed its broader business. It seems like both Apple and Epic are standing their ground on this one. Epic thinks that Apple is displaying anti-competitive behavior and wants to put an end to that, but will continue to use Unreal Engine to develop for iOS and Mac under the court's protection. Apple will allow Fortnite to be reinstated in the App Store if Epic can agree they breached their agreement in the contract and just go back to the way things used to be. I still don't really know on which side I stand in this debate. On one side, we have Epic Games trying to protest Apple's policies and enforcement in the App Store. On the other hand, we have Apple trying to get Epic Games to comply with the agreement that was made when Fortnite was initially put in the App Store. I mean, I'm not a fan of breaching contracts, but I can also imagine that a lot of other game developers that are losing money to this Apple contract, I can see them siding with Epic Games in this case. I don't know how this story will end, but you can definitely count on me to keep you informed as it progresses. In other news, we've talked about Amazon making games, and in that we talked about the game Crucible. Well, sadly, it seems Amazon has officially canceled Crucible, which is its free-to-play multiplayer shooter, in case you've never heard of it. It's the end of the rocky journey for the game, which was first launched in May after years in development, before being put back into closed beta in July. Although I don't think the game was great, I do hate seeing games die before they even had a real chance to live. In a blog post, the Crucible team said, "We very much appreciate the way that our fans have rallied around our efforts, and we've loved seeing your responses to the changes we've made over the last few months, but ultimately, we didn't see a healthy, sustainable future ahead for Crucible." If you're in the closed beta, you'll still be able to play the game in some form for a short while. The developers will be hosting a final playtest and community celebration in the next few weeks, according to that blog. Once that's done, matchmaking will be disabled, but you'll be able to play custom games, which are expected to be available in the coming days, until 2 p.m. Central on November 9th, which is a Sunday. The company also says that it will be offering a full refund for any purchases you might have made. Crucible developers will be moved to other Amazon games titles, including New World, Amazon's upcoming MMO. That game, which is currently set to launch in spring of 2021, has had its own set of challenges, including 2 delays already. And we're also still waiting on the release of Pac-Man Live Studio, a version of Pac-Man that you can play directly on Twitch. Amazon said in May that Pac-Man would launch in June, but it's still not out, and the game's website only says that it's coming soon. And keep in mind, they're also working on Luna, which we talked about in episode 41 as well. So they are still working on stuff, but I guess I can see why they decided to call it for Crucible. It is sad to see, but you know, can't be helped. And last but not least, I want to talk about Genshin Impact for a little bit, and the impact it's had on gamers everywhere. See what I did there? That was terrible. I'm gonna leave that in though. So I'm no stranger to the world of gacha games. I'll admit, I've been addicted to a few different games myself. I'm currently putting a lot of time into 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross. It's just so easy when it's on mobile, you know what I mean? One thing that all gacha games have in common is the immense desire to want to spend actual money to get some in-game items or playable characters. It's insanely tempting. The reason I bring all this up is because I want to talk about Twitch streamer Lakari's journey to unlock the 5-star character Kuching, which until earlier I thought was pronounced Keking, like this entire time. I could still be wrong, but I looked it up and apparently it's Kuching. But anyways, Lakari was spending dollar after dollar trying to unlock Kuching and had no luck for a long time. After his bad luck continued, and the streamer had spent over $1,500 trying to get Kuching. Needless to say, some of his friends began to mock him for it. I mean, that's a lot of money, guys. Eventually, however, when things were looking their most dim, Lakari turned up to the heavens and begged for his luck to change. That last-ditch effort gave him the luck he needed, and he finally summoned this elusive unit. Lakari lost it, which I can understand. The chances of summoning this character were incredibly low, like insanely low. And although he finally got her, it ended up costing him around $2,000 in the process. $2,000. Like, just think about that. $2,000 invested in a game that just came out just to get a character. Oh my god. It's pretty crazy to see someone literally spend that kind of cash all for a video game character, but that pretty much sums up the free-to-play model in a nutshell. Genshin Impact has had one of the most successful launches for a Chinese game in history, and so far its review scores are highly favorable, with an 80 Metacritic Metascore and 74 user score. I mean, the game is beautiful and it's fun to play, don't get me wrong. Only time will tell if its success continues or if users get fed up with having to pay big bucks to play as certain characters. Don't get me wrong, the thing is, you don't have to play as certain characters. You can still enjoy the game, but the game will make you really want to play as those characters, and it would be insanely hard to get those characters without actually spending money. The moral behind this story is, be patient, don't spend that money. These games are made in a way that will make you want to spend all your money, but is it really worth it? I guess that's for you to decide. But that's going to be it for this week's episode, guys. I appreciate you hanging out. It means a lot to me if you watched this video all the way through. If you did and you like what you see, feel free to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out a lot. And for all of you already subscribed, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much. We're going to continue to make these videos, and I hope to see you here next time. And as always, stay curious. Peace.